What is going on, guys? Today is Thursday, September 14th, 2023, and we got LSU football this weekend. And for the rest of the entire fall, man, LSU kicks off SEC play this weekend against Mississippi State. They hit the road for an 11 a.m. kick there in Starkville. And this game has been kind of like the game, probably the last, I mean, as long as I can remember, this is usually the first SEC game LSU has played. In very rare occurrences, they play other teams. But most of the time, man, it's always been Mississippi State. So this is kind of like, the standard that you're going to see for the rest of the year, I always think, right? Because you have a lot of questions you have to figure out if you're LSU. Any year, not just in this year, obviously. Last year, you used this as kind of like a springboard to have the season that you had last year. Everybody went into this game last year having tremendous amount of questions whether this offense could get it together. This year, kind of those questions are reversed. Can the defense get things together? So we're going to find all that out on Saturday, man, as we kick off SEC schedule. Mississippi State comes into this thing 2-0. They had a big win last week in Starkville against Arizona. An overtime victory over the Wildcats. This offense, man, is not going to look like what it used to. I think everybody knows by now. Zach Arnett is the guy there now, and he's put an emphasis on running the football. And that's what you're going to see out of Mississippi State. Now you're going to see a team that's going to try to be physical with you. But you also still have Will Rogers back there, man. And Will Rogers is one of the top quarterbacks in this league. Eventually, he is going to, at some point this season, he's going to be the all-time passing leader in SEC football history, which is a tremendous accomplishment. And whether you run the air raid system or not, that is nothing to be slight at, because you still have to perform. You still have to consistently go out there and win football games for them to keep giving you the opportunity to play. And Will Rogers has done that his entire career at Mississippi State, going into his fourth year now, I believe, as the starting quarterback. I believe 2020, the COVID year when LSU played them, that LSU game was like the only game he didn't play in. And he kind of took over after KJ Costello took that role from Stanford. Will Rogers been the guy ever since, man. It feels like he's going to be the guy going forward. You are going to see two quarterbacks from Mississippi State. They do have a package for the backup, who is more of a running type quarterback. A lot of option plays, stuff like that. A lot of stuff you'll see Jaden Daniels do throughout the game. But most importantly about this game, man, this game is about LSU, right? Man for man, LSU has more talent and is better than Mississippi State. There's no denying that. You ask anybody, Mississippi State fan or what, LSU is the more talented team. Now, the most talented team doesn't win you football games. There's a whole dynamic of things that go into winning this football game for LSU. It's going to make a lot of people feel more at comfort if the defense performs well. I'm at one of those. I'm kind of in the middle on how I see this game playing out. I think if you played this game 50 times, LSU probably wins 35 of them, right? Like I said, LSU's the better team. They go in this thing as a 9.5-point favorite. I see scenarios where LSU comes out sluggish and they squeak one out or even lose. And I also see where LSU kind of proves kind of what I've been trying and hoping, right? Everybody's kind of been hoping this, is that Florida State is just a really good football team and they played a bad quarter of football. But LSU is also a very good football team. That football team that you saw in the first half of the Florida State game is more of what you're going to see consistently throughout the season with LSU, is what I believe is going to happen, right? You kind of found some pieces there in the back end with Denver Harris getting the start last weekend. It looks like he's going to be your guy moving forward, so hopefully he can have a tremendous week. But the key here is, man, as weird as it is to say with Mississippi State, the weirdest thing in the world after the Mike Leach era at Mississippi State is you're going to have to stop the run, man. They run a lot of outside zone plays, man. We're going to have D ends. They're going to have to know their role and set edges. Linebackers are going to have to fill those gaps. It is going to be a tough matchup for LSU, man. Florida State was able to run the ball a little bit. Grambling was able to run the ball a lot on LSU there in that first quarter, but they kind of hunkered down there towards the end. So it's one of those question mark games, man. This could be a year, or this game very well could determine how your year is going to go. And I feel like that's how a lot of these games the rest of the season are going to be. There's not a game on LSU's schedule where I look at and check mark a loss, right? Even the Alabama game, A&M game now, all of that looks so much more winnable after what we've seen from other teams. But there's also not a game on LSU's schedule left, besides a couple non-conference games where I'm like, LSU's definitely going to win that game, right? There's games where they should win. They should probably go in there and win all of them, right? They'll probably be favored in all of them but one, maybe. Maybe the Alabama game they're not favored, depending on how their season continues to go and how LSU's continue to go. If LSU's rolling in that thing hot, man, they could easily be the favorite into that game too. So, that being said, 9.5-point favorite, Mississippi State on the road. You have an 11 a.m. kickoff. LSU struggled last year at 11 a.m. kickoffs. You got housed by Tennessee at home. You played that game at Arkansas, but that game was right after the Alabama game, and kind of it was the Harold Perkins show. LSU couldn't do anything on offense. They were able to squeak that one out there at the end, and that was a game KJ Jefferson did not play. I have full confidence in my heart that LSU probably doesn't win that game if KJ Jefferson plays last year, because that was one of the worst football games I had ever watched LSU play last year. That was probably their worst performance of the entire year, and they lost 3-4 games last year. So that being said, you have to show up, right? These 11 a.m. kickoffs, it's all about how you prepare. It's all about the mentality you come in with. If LSU comes in locked in, ready to go, I don't see them this is a Mississippi State team where you have to play from in front, right? You don't want to be chasing them, because then that gives them options of what they want to do is run the football, right? And kind of eat this game up and be super physical. And physicality was a problem the first game. LSU was not the more physical team in the Florida State matchup. So Mississippi State could easily come out here, get a lead, right, and kind of establish that physicality, and maybe LSU doesn't match that intensity, and then Mississippi State comes out there and gets the win. What I think is going to happen, I think LSU is coming in this thing razor focused, man. I think they have had to have that first game. They had to have that first game. That first game kind of like reset expectations in a way. Kind of like thinking, hey, we're not as good as we thought we were, but we have the potential to be there. We saw the potential in that game, that we have the potential to be there, but it's going to take execution. It's going to take mental toughness to push through these games and do the little things that get you to wins in this conference, especially wins on the road, which are not the easiest thing to come by in this league. Mississippi State, it's always a close game. Even the 2019 game was probably one of the closest games. Granted, you never really felt threatened, but Mississippi State just kind of kept annoying you and hanging around and doing their thing, man. And it's been like that the last couple of years. You have the 2021 season where you got that big lead, 24-3 or whatever it was, and they came back and you only win the game by 3. And then you have last year where you're down 13-3 at halftime. Tremendous adjustments by Matt House and the defense. That's kind of the game Harold Perkins started to shine. So this game has a lot of that ebbs and flows feel to it, where it's going to be a feeling out process maybe for the first quarter. If you're going to play anything as an LSU fan, I'd probably play the under in this game, honestly. Maybe LSU's offense comes out to a slow start. Hopefully not. But that's where I would put the play. I don't know how I feel about the spread yet. I don't know if LSU's going to cover. If I think they're going to cover, I think they're going to win a tight one. But it is going to be in that 7-10 range, so they could easily cover. I think they end up winning by 2 scores. If I had to put a prediction on it, I'd say LSU probably takes this thing 34-24. So that would give LSU the cover of 9.5. Your over-under total would be 58 there. I'm not sure what the over-under total is as of right now. But this is a big game for LSU, man, and if they don't treat it like a big game, they could easily, very well, we could be sitting here on Sunday morning talking about another LSU loss because Mississippi State has a lot of seniors, a lot of guys that played a lot of football for this team, and I know they have a new coach, and I know you guys think, oh, it's just Mississippi State, but they give a lot of people a lot of problems, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. It's at their place. It's a noon kickoff or 11 a.m. kickoff, and anything can kind of happen there. But that's all I got for you guys today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Mississippi State preview. We will see you guys on Sunday to break down everything and anything that happened on the game. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. All it does is help us out. It costs you nothing, and we can keep putting out content like this all the time. Make sure you guys have a blessed weekend. Stay safe. Hopefully you guys find a cool place to watch the game. If y'all are heading to Starkville, be loud, be proud, and cheer on your Tigers' victory, and we will see you again on Sunday.